We both put it in. Did we both do that?
I can't believe it.
We both did it. Oh my God, we're professionals.
Here at Electrifying, we're all about efficiency. That means we love cars with big ranges, small prices, loads of practicality. But we're also, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Childish.
We're really childish, which means we also love things that are fast, flashy, shiny, things we can't afford.
Now, we actually have tested the ultimate versions of both of these cars, the Porsche Taycan and the Audi e-tron Gt, in other videos, which you can find in the description below. But within these new age families, there are more rational versions with less range, with slightly less power, and with slightly more real-world price tags.
Real-world price tags? I don't know what real world you live in, but £80,000, it's still pretty punchy.
Yeah, I mean, I did say slightly more real-world. They are not cheap.
Although, actually, if you think about them in respect of the worlds they exist in, they are at the more cost-conscious end of that, so they are cheaper.
Exactly, I'm warming to your fiscal logic, Buckley.
So team, say hello to the savvy end of the expensive spectrum, the absolutely gorgeous Porsche Taycan 4S.
And the Audi e-tron Gt.
Now, as ever, please do the usual, like, subscribe and switch those notifications on. If you do all that, you'll probably win a prize.
Can I just say, for legal reasons, you won't win a prize?
Sport.
Not going to win a prize.
I will start because this is one of my favourites. This is the Porsche Taycan 4S, currently listed at £83,500 on the Porsche website as of this morning. So it's the baby brother to the Taycan Turbo and Turbo S.
Yes.
Has a motor on each end to give four-wheel drive.
Yes, it does.
Two-speed gearbox on the rear axle to give it both acceleration and also efficiency. And I think it looks absolutely blooming brilliant in carmine red.
I've got to say, that is a strong start.
I just want it in this colour. Can I take it with me?
Red has always suited you, Ginny Buckley.
I love it.
This, on the other hand, is the Audi e-tron Gt, and it is essentially the same cake but baked by a different chef, because under the skin these two cars are basically the same. This has also got two motors, one on each end to give four-wheel drive. It's got a two-speed gearbox on the rear axle. But guess what's different about this rather than that?
I don't know, tell me.
This starts at under £80,000.
Oh.
But yes, this does have a bigger brother as well in the shape of the e-tron RS, you know, that one you were driving the other week. And actually, I really like it. I mean, the weird thing about this car is it's slightly longer and taller than your Taycan, but oddly, a little bit narrower.
Doesn't look it at all, does it?
Slimmer hipped.
It really, I think it's an incredibly striking car. Honestly, it is a head-turning car. When you drive along in it, people really do take notice. Particularly, as much as I love this colour, in that lovely tactical green that I had.
Do you mean baby poo green?
No, I mean the best colour in the world, tactical green.
It's baby poo or dog vomit.
But you've never had good taste about things like that.
I
so
know,
let's
I really
move on.
like it. I actually really like it, but it is baby poo or dog vomit, which is not something I thought we'd be talking about today.
Yeah, let's move on.
The weird thing is, I'm getting quite used to seeing Taycans on the road now. Have you seen quite a few?
I've seen loads and they look stunning.
So they're making upwards of 20,000 Taycans a year. And because the Audi e-tron is actually made in a different place that hasn't got capacity, they will be making a lot less e-trons than they will Taycans. So this car is going to be more exclusive. Oh yeah. Wrong camera.
So here's the thing. Which one is the best fast electric saloon? Well, that's a complicated question because, like we said, these two are very similar under the skin. Both have a 93.4 kilowatt hour battery under the floor. Both get from rest to 62 miles per hour in around 4 seconds, and both manage a top speed of over 150 miles per hour.
Yep, and they both have ranges on the WLTP cycle of 288 and 283 miles, which means that in the real world, they'll probably both manage between 220 and 230. And they both have massive charging capability because they have what's called an 800 volt architecture, meaning that they can suck up electricity pretty much as fast as any charger can put it in.
He's not kidding. Both of these cars can charge at around 270 kilowatts per hour, meaning that if you put them on the big 350 kilowatt chargers, they'll go from 10 to 80% in around 20 minutes, which is conveniently fast. On a more regular 50 kilowatt public charger, 10 to 80% will take about an hour and a quarter for both.
They also both get 11 kilowatt AC onboard charging. though that's 3-phase power more usually found in industrial units, so a normal home wall box will see a completely flat battery to 100% in 13.5 hours for either car.
Gosh, they really are quite similar, aren't they?
Yes, and there is more. Both cars are 4-seaters with an optional jump seat that sits in the middle for people with very narrow bottoms, as far as I can work out, though it is a £336 option in the Porsche and standard in the Audi. And both cars have a roughly 400-litre boot, which is fine, but not exactly cavernous.
And don't forget about the frunk. They both have an 85-litre frunk, which is really handy for chucking your charging cables in or your shopping bags. So come on, what do you like to keep in your frunk? Let us know in the comments below.
But what makes the real difference between these two cars apart from the way they look? Well, we've been talking about it and we reckon it's the interiors and the way they drive.
Bagsy the Porsche.
I think you already did.
You just can't go wrong with the Taycan interior, can you? I mean, I remember being really impressed with it the first time I sat in this car, which is probably coming up to 2 years ago now. And still, I absolutely love it. I mean, just look at it. It's got this delicious 16.8-inch curved display that goes right across here in front of me. Just got really clean Porsche-like lines. Now you can configure this bit, show exactly what you want, and all of the graphics and the functions are really slick. And then you get the center console with the direct touch functions for battery level indicator, climate control, all those bits and pieces you use a lot, which I really like. The whole thing is just intuitive, extremely well made, comfortable, and you get to look at this lovely badge as well. I love the badge. But although you do get pretty much everything you might need and expect as standard, from a part leather interior with heated seats to a fantastic navigation system to a decent stereo and stuff like LED headlights and a load of driver assistance systems, the options list is a minefield. This car feels great, but it's got over £14,000 worth of options on it, and it really isn't trying that hard. From a rear steering axle, good for tight car parks, at £1,650, to better 20-inch wheels at £1,500, to £1,700 for glossy paint. Be careful with your wish list is all I'm saying, because you'll get to £100,000 quicker than this car can get from 0 to 62.
This entire thing cost less than her options. But I would counter Ginny's argument with the e-tron's really rather fine insides, because Audi does interiors really, really well, and the e-tron GT is no exception. You get this big 12.3-inch display in front of the driver, and that's completely configurable because of Audi's virtual cockpit. You can have it in classic mode, sport, yes, change now, and it changes, or e-tron sport, which actually shows you all your charging and range information, which is really good for monitoring all the stuff if you want to go a little bit further on a charge. Then in the centre of the dash is this 10.1-inch display with actually some physical buttons for things like the aircon and the heated seats underneath it. It's all really well made. It feels like it's hewn from a solid block. It just feels really quite comfy and cosy. It's quite driver focused, feels quite sporty. It's got quite a long bonnet and a short windscreen, so it feels, I don't know, like a sports car. It's also comfortable and well laid out, though there is one hell of a blind spot back there.
Like the Taycan, it's pretty well equipped as standard, but the options list also gets expensive quickly. You'll get standard leather and heated sports seats, but option a leather-free interior and sports seats Pro, and that'll cost over 10 grand. There's standard aircon, remote preconditioning and a heat pump for efficiency like the Taycan, but the top spec comfort and sound pack plus costs over £8,000. Although you do get a very good stereo and all the usual safety systems as standard, including parking sensors and reversing cameras and the like. In fact, if you're going to go top of the line with the options, you're better off just ordering the GT in Vorsprung spec, which is basically everything with cheese. It does cost nearly 107 grand, but you get pretty much everything.
As for the performance, well, for both of these cars, it's all you'll ever need for day-to-day driving, but we might as well get this out of the way now.
I know some people imagine themselves doing launch control at every single junction once they buy the car, but let's be fair, 99% of people will use it once and then they don't drive like that. Of course, there is one person that will do launch control all of the time, but I'd like to see her as an outlier. Ginny Buckley.
What? The cheek. In truth, a 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint is something you pull out of the bag to shock people with now and again. Look, it's not exactly necessary. It's fun, yes. Impressive as hell, yes. But not something that's going to see regular use.
What's actually more important is just knowing that you can get the job done and that these cars have enough speed to back up the way that they look and feel, which we will now demonstrate.
Ready?
Are you ready, Grandpa?
3, 2, 1, go!
Woohoo! That works! No! No, he's cheating! We have to do it again. My window keeps going down. My window went down. The aerodynamics were all messed up. We have to go again. It keeps going up and down, look. Watch. Keeps doing this. Look, it's doing it.
You think that made you slower?
No, of course it would have made me slower.
It didn't make you slower.
It did make me slower, look.
She's trying to, this is racing driver excuses.
We're doing it again.
What's the problem with having a boss who is very competitive?
Why, who's competitive?
You're making us do it again because you lost. She's making us do it
I'm
again
not.
because she
It was
lost.
the window came down.
So she says because the window was half open, that stopped my skill beating her because she was slowed down by an open window. My back window was open. I still won. She's just shutting a window now. She's just shutting a window.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! She's beating me! Oh no!
Oh, no, you're not doing that, you cheeky thing.
Oh, that was close. That was really close. They basically are as fast as each other.
Now, the thing is, despite all their similarities, these two do actually feel quite different to drive, which really does make sense. Look, both have got various modes that change the firmness of the ride and the sharpness of the throttle, but this is an electric car built by a company famous for its sports cars. Goodness me, it really shows behind the wheel. You know, the Taycan is just super responsive. It clings to corners like it's got Velcro on the tyres. And it feels very, very precise. Look, it's a big, heavy car. There's no getting away from that. But when you go fast in it, just doesn't feel like it.
The Audi, on the other hand, well, it's not slow by any means. If I put it into dynamic mode and then slap the accelerator, yep, it will still put the back of your head straight back onto that headrest. But do you know what? The Audi is actually just that little bit softer than the Porsche Taycan. It's more relaxed. I think some people think that's a bad thing, but I actually don't think it is. There's all the punch you need, but where the Porsche is ever so slightly feeling like it always wants to go fast, the Audi is actually more prepared to be a bit more chilled. Some people might see that as a disadvantage, but I actually don't. This is more of a GT car, which, let's face it, is exactly what it says on the tin. This is what it's for. It's a little bit less nervous, and I quite like that.
And bizarrely, both of them sound quite good. And I don't usually like fake engine noises, although that noise, of course, is an optional extra. Of course it is. It's called Porsche Sports Sound, and it will cost you £350.
Yep, they both have standard science fiction noises, but you can option more noises. Yes, the same with the GT, a £500 option. You get some amps and 2 speakers in the car and 2 speakers outside it that produce a kind of synthetic, vroomy V8 noise. And actually, I'm quite keen on it. Listen to this. Can you hear it? It's like, ooh, ooh.
So look, I'm actually quite surprised, having driven these cars back to back for the first time, because they are actually quite different. And you would think with what is basically the same ingredients, they would be pretty much the same flavour, but they're not. And that makes me really happy. Because do you remember when everyone used to say, oh, electric cars are just all going to be the same? They are not. They do have different characters.
No, I do have to point one thing out though. To get the same basic spec as an Audi e-tron, on the Porsche 4S, the Taycan 4S, you actually have to option a thing called the Porsche Performance Plus battery, because the standard battery for the 4S is only 79.2 kilowatt hours, right? And that costs an extra £4,000. So to get the same basic hardware, as well as the list price cost difference, that Porsche is actually 7 grand more expensive than this without any options on either.
That is such a Porsche thing to do, isn't
Yes.
it? Absolutely. However, in this car's defence, there is an entry-level Taycan that's just called the Taycan, has
Yeah.
a smaller battery, it's got rear-wheel drive, just two-wheel drive.
So it's a
and-
one motor car.
Yes,
Yeah.
one motor. And it's £71,000. So, you know, you can get into a Taycan for less money.
The thing is, that's not really helping, isn't it? Because I kind of get that you pay slightly more for the Porsche name, because it's a slightly better badge, in my opinion, and it's a slightly sportier drive, but I kind of expected that, really.
I know, and the thing is, they are both great to look at as well.
Yeah.
So I think the e-tron is very striking. For me, the Taycan, it just, I don't know, it just makes my heart sing a bit more, but it's just really difficult.
Do you know what? There's only one thing for it.
What?
We'll take both and we'll swap at weekends.
Yeah, I love your thinking. But I'm having this one first.
Cheesy high five, everyone.
At least you didn't.
She always steals the car she wants. Is that even fair? If you run over my foot,
You get out of the way.
I moved. I'm not in the way.
Okay. Do you really want me to take it?
Just go that way.
Can I take it?
Go.
Will somebody answer me? Please, can I take it? Please, please.
Just go. Go that
Yeah?
way. Oh my God.
Well, I think that's pretty much sorted then. We'll take both. At least as long as we get to borrow them. If you want to know more about these two, see the detailed reviews or check out their competition, like the Tesla Model S, please do head over to electrifying.com and don't forget to check out all our other videos here on the YouTube channel. And please do subscribe and switch those notifications on.